ועכשיו, בדיגיטל של 103 FM, מהנדסים בנייה, הפודקאסט הנכנס לעובי הקורה של ענף הבנייה, בהגשת אהוד לביא.
Hello and welcome to a special chapter in engineering construction today. My name is Ehud Lebie, Vice President of Marketing and Business Development for AZ Group. And this very special chapter, we have with us our special partners from Germany, from MC-Bauchemie. We have Dr. Ekkehard Zur Muhlen and Mr. Wolfgang Litz. Hello.
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 I'm very happy to be here, also a little bit excited. This is not the first podcast that we're doing, but this is the first time we're doing it freestyle and in English. So I'll let you by introduce yourselves. So,
Hi.
Wolfgang.
Shalom. I'm Wolfgang. Nice to be here again in Israel. I'm with MC-Bauchemie now in April 24 for 13 years. And most of that time cooperating with Israel, which has always been a big pleasure and good time for me. And besides that, I'm a business development manager in the company, and I'm supporting the region of Israel, the Middle East, and India.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Good to see you again. Dr. Ekkehard.
Yes, my name is Ekkehard Zur Muhlen. I'm one of the managing directors of the MC-Bauchemie Group, and I'm taking care pretty much about everything of our business in the Eastern Hemisphere. Of course, that starts somewhere in Israel, ends on the Philippines or in Wellington, New Zealand, however you want to structure it these days.
So AZ and MC has been a long partner for over 15 years now. What is special about MC-Bauchemie?
Well, I guess if you basically compare us with other construction chemical companies, we try to be a bit more innovative, a bit more engineering driven, and to have a gene pool that actually goes into, let's say, being high-end in construction, training people, developing, let's say, unique solutions that just deliver better than the common standard.
And we heard from Wolfgang here that he's taking care of many countries. And how many countries does MC-Bauchemie operate these days?
More than 40.
More than 40
and
countries.
Still growing into a bigger number.
That's perfect. And MC is a private company.
Yes.
And it's been around for how many years now?
Well, we were founded in the early 1960s. We are over 60 years now in business. It started in the western part in Germany, of course, then expanded until we, after about 20 years, started to go abroad. And now we are consistently, let's say, globalizing the business.
So as an international producer of construction chemicals, what it is do you think MC-Bauchemie is the biggest strength?
I think the biggest strength is literally to provide high-end solutions to whatever is perceived in a local market as high-end solution. And I think, Udi, we experienced as well here in Israel that needs to go hand in hand with educating people, educating applicators.
Yes.
So it's not only, let's say, delivering a product or selling a product, but it's about developing a technology together with the people who apply the material.
True.
So Wolfgang, being here for many years now, I've been with AZ for 11 years, and I think those 11 years have been shared with you.
Yes.
in many projects. What would you say would be your best experience here in Israel? How do you look at the Israeli market versus other markets that you are managing?
Basically, it's a strength of the market, going basically only up. Very rare situations where it went down actually never happened. And it's the people and the strengths of the market. And being open for innovative new technologies. That's basically it.
Okay, and when we're looking at international markets, and as you said, Dr. Zur Muhlen, MC is investing a lot in research and development of products. What is your main focus? How do you decide in what kind of technologies to invest?
Well, I mean, that is, of course, driven by the market needs. And I think as history and also, let's say, MBA textbook shows, your customers will tell you where to invest and where to go. Innovative never really comes from companies, but it comes from the customer base.
But international customers have different needs.
Yes, and this is why we need regional R&D centers, why we need a decentralized organization and consistently build a decentralized organization.
So one of the big things now in construction is emissions, avoidance and removal of emissions. How does MC deal with this?
Yeah, I think that is a very interesting chapter in our, let's say, current life, because it brought really a lot of focus on topics where 10 years ago we all believed that somehow there is little innovation in part of the construction area, especially when you were dealing with, let's say, fresh concrete, ready-mix concrete.
Yes, concrete was boring a few years ago.
Well, not boring. It was always there, and
it was
still
concrete.
There. It was concrete, full stop. And let's say the last innovation was there when, let's say, more modern plasticizers were introduced 20, 30 years ago. Yes. And on a sudden, what used to be almost an established non-moving technology has now taken a lot of a hike because, as we all know, cement does wear on the global CO2 balance. And the big cement players, the national cement players, they are all looking for alternatives rather than burning clinker. And that on a sudden exposes us to a much larger variety of qualities, cement grades, material that needs to be activated to act like cement. And there's not a, let's say, single solution to the problem, but what used to be, let's say, a fairly standardized product now has a huge, massive variety. And very often we are the people who bring then the technology to the people actually making concrete out of that. And this sort of opens up the doors to huge innovations.
What are the new innovations that you can speak about in admixtures? And one of the verticals of MC is concrete admixtures.
Yes.
And I know you've been dealing a little bit with non-cement products and also dealing a little bit technology in 3D printing. Mm-hmm. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, there's the so-called topic of earth-friendly concrete. And this means to be sort of non-clinker types, and actually simply because concrete has a problem at low pH values. These were all technologies we are using for decades in products that need to be proved to that are exposed to very low pH values. And we are now carrying over this technology into concrete mass production. We are working close with customers, looking in their own environment to their own solution to work with substitute clinker material. But this, again, is not an innovation that just comes out of a laboratory somewhere in Germany as the unique sparking idea. But we have to work very close with customers, working hand in hand, because, as I said, there's not a single substitute in cement production to clinker, but there is basically a lot of variety of people and laboratories working on solutions of using material which is locally available.
Mm-hmm. Wolfgang, I would like to ask you a few questions as a business development manager, working with so many markets. When you enter a new market, some of those markets are developing countries. Mm-hmm. Some of them have little standards. MC-Bauchemie is known to have the higher standards, especially coming from Europe. Mm-hmm. And how do you bring about that knowledge, the expertise, the technical expertise to those new countries?
Mm-hmm. Also, thank you for the question. Also basically, it's the way in is always through finding the right people to start with, either for in our team or finding the right partners. That is the first big important step. Actually, when you mention the high standards MC is working with, then this is basically and most of the time the way in, because that is, at least in the region I'm working in, something that supports us very much. Also people are interested in these standards that we are bringing in from Europe, from our strengths field, for example, the injection field.
But do you feel the local people, in addition to being open to it, are also capable of adopting it?
Yes, definitely.
How so?
It's through identifying the right people who bring the understanding of what chance that is. Then it's an easy way to go.
And then, of course, training them. Right?
Exactly. Yeah, of course. That's
so. Let's talk about a little bit about training, because training is one of the big things when you're bringing new technology. And we all know that many construction chemicals companies around the world have good products.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, it comes to surface preparation and then expertise. I mean, I experienced and worked with MC products, especially when you talk about, let's say, the GL95. It's a 5-component product that you need to mix and match and make sure you have the right ratios.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, there's a worker who needs to inject that product, needs to make sure the ratios are the same. So how do you get the people to upgrade their skills?
Yes.
Do you have a technical team that goes around and shows them and explain and being part of it? I mean, we experienced here in Israel, but how does it work in other places in the world?
Exactly the same principle. We have a technical team, either that supports from Germany with our product line management, or we have local teams which are technically very well skilled, trained from Germany, being with the company for a long time. And they know what they're talking about. They know how to present it to and explain it to our partners. That's the basic key. And I think when you mentioning that 5-component product, I think the key to success is when you really understand what you can do with that acrylic gel in the field of injections. Then you have to take away a little bit the concern of working with a 5-component product and this mixing ratios and what you're saying. In the end, what I'm always explaining is, in the end, you work with a 2K material after mixing.
After mixing, you have a 2K. After,
but it's like that's a little bit, make them confident through the trainings, through our people, and then, taking away concerns of working with some high sophisticated thing. It is definitely, but make them familiar, make them confident with it.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a question of a routine by the people applying the material. And I think the common insight in our industry is that nobody wants building materials, but everybody wants a building, right?
A solution.
And, well, yes, but the final customer who actually wants to drive through a dry tunnel or who wants to have a dry basement, he doesn't need actually injection material. He only needs a solution that creates a dry environment. And this solution is composed of a product, like we mentioned here, the special injection gels, but of course, a person who applies it and who applies it properly, who has the proper equipment, in this case a pump. And if you get all of these, let's say, combined properly, then you have a solution that satisfies the final customer who enjoys a dry basement, right? And if you don't get these people, right, and if you don't get them trained well, and if they can't develop the routine you are talking about, Wolfgang, then the best material will fail.
So let's talk about economics a little bit, because Europe is the cost in Europe is different than cost in other places in the world. And how do you, as an international company, allows your products to be available, economically available, providing solutions to countries all around the world?
Well, I guess that is always a mix out of the real high-end material coming from Germany. And of course, volume products you can't, let's say, take it as a joke, air freight to Japan. And which means you need to have production for those products that are mass products,
Yes.
where we, for example, send certain black boxes from Germany with the very, let's say, difficult to get ingredients in, minimize freight and shipping costs, but also minimize lead times. That is, especially in the remote areas of this world, a very important topic. And then be, let's say, available in the right quantities at short lead times to local markets. That is imperative in our business.
Now, over the last few years, there has been a few hurdles in the world. There was the pandemic. There's still a war in Europe, which I'm sure affected costs and markets. Not going into politics, only for the economics. What kind of challenges did MC face, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, I mean, that was, of course, a funny time. It started actually with a container ship sort of blocking the Suez Canal, and afterwards, I think the entire global supply chains went haywire.
No, but before that, with the COVID,
COVID was actually not so much of a disaster, because in most countries, building industries, yes, did take a different turn. We had, of course, very harsh lockdowns in the Far East, but actually the supply chains were not that much affected. And in some areas, I think in Germany, almost the construction business went, for example, totally undisturbed.
Yeah, same thing in Israel.
Exactly.
In Israel,
I recall that as well.
Our biggest concern was containers at that time,
I recall.
and containers and the freight cost, naval freight cost.
I think this major lockdown in China, that was one of the biggest issues concerning availability of containers worldwide.
Yes,
True. And did that affect you in any way?
Yes, definitely. I think our purchasing people did not sleep for quite a while because you were almost hunting across the globe to get the materials together.
Yeah, sleeping is for weak people.
Yes, exactly.
Anyways,
And like when you had the raw materials together, eventually you had no buckets to put it in. And if you had the raw materials and the buckets, eventually we were out of pallets to put them on and ship them, for example, to Israel. So that was really, really a lot of sleepless nights for many people. But at the end of the day, we somehow always managed.
But when it came to the raw material situation and so on, I think it was also a great job of our R&D, which continuously searched for alternatives if something went short and so on. And from that, it's like Dr. Zur Muhlen is saying, it was very much, we bridged the time when there was any kind of shortness from any direction.
How many people are working in your R&D department?
About
10% of our worldwide.
Yeah, like if you put like all the quality control and so on, and it's quite a number. Like there's always, let's say, a certain flow from R&D people really being, let's say, PhD in whatever, and creating new things to people who do quality control. If we are talking, for example, here in this connection, to hunting for new raw material sources, it's much more the QC people you need than the, let's say, people who create an innovation.
True. Yeah, true, of course.
Any effect of the energy crisis on MC in any way, on the products?
Yeah, I dare to say it's not so much an energy crisis anymore, but it turns to be sort of a focus topic because of the CO2 emission, right? And boom, we are back to the innovation in cement, right? But normally we are not by ourselves an energy-intensive industry, so it's not, let's say, affecting us too much.
I see. Wolfgang, can we ask you about a favorite project you had around the world, something that was left a mark on you?
Oy. Difficult to say. I basically am coming from the infrastructural direction in MC, and that is basically like the tunnelings we have done in Israel, the tunnelings we are doing in India, metros and this kind of things. And I think that is actually something where I'm most experienced in. First, second.
Why? What is so thrilling about?
Well, it's I'm doing that for 13 years now. First, second, it's simply a little bit like everybody has his focus. Everybody has fields he's most interested in, and that is somehow what brought me there. Let's say like that. Yes.
I see. Okay.
I remember very well our first tunnel project in Israel, Petah Tikva, and yeah, that is.
You're talking about the red line.
Red line, yes.
The red line, the Petah Tikva station,
Yes.
The depot.
Yeah,
perhaps.
one of the first ones.
Yeah,
yes.
one of the first
Yes.
ones, because there were many tunnels that
Yeah.
we've worked together there. Anything about the future? How do you see the future of construction chemicals? Where is it going? I know that in recent years there was a lot of acquisitions and the mergers between big companies. Most of them we do not hear about here in Israel, but Europe definitely had some nice mergers and acquisitions. How do you see the future of construction chemicals?
Well, I think number one, like there's a certain consolidation in the market, which normally took the focus away in the past whenever this happened from, let's say, the innovation topics. Like people are then volume players rather than being sort of fast reacting, innovative, close to customer companies when they turn into sort of what they perceive as big global brands or whatever. As much as we globalize, I think the challenge, however, is to be innovative and stay very close, because next to the, let's say, CO2 emission, which whether we experience it in every part of the world yet, it will come. And it will basically keep our minds and so on very, very busy. And the topic of sustainability in some parts of the world is not a topic yet, but the emphasis is on yet. The second topic is, and I'm quite sure Israel is also very familiar with that, is the shortage of labor. Construction, for some reason or the other, does not attract many people.
It's hard labor.
It's hard labor at the end of the day. So it's increasingly a topic of being more, let's say, innovative as it comes to machinery. Innovation in machinery always means different type of construction products. Flow abilities, pump abilities.
So you're talking about
handling.
robots?
No, not robots, but for example, what we have in our company is specialized application for manhole repair. If you are in a manhole, which is like the hole connecting the street with the sewer, you're standing in a stinking something, 90 centimeters diameter, and it's not a robot doing the job, but if you run a machine to actually blast the surface, prepare it, apply a certain thickness of a specialized mortar, and you run it from a machine from the top, it's much, much more convenient and much more quality controlled than a person actually standing in the shaft and doing it all day.
So you think that in the future, where you will be investing in the future, is developing and producing products that can be easily applied by machinery.
Exactly.
And instead of having an applicator, you will have a technician, in a way.
Yeah, you still need people who know how to handle the machinery, right?
Technical people.
Yeah. But, I mean, coming back to injection, you would also call them applicators, right?
Oh yeah, we'll call it applicators in different languages, but at the end of the day, if we have, you're talking about the storage of the manhole, or we're talking about plastering, or we're talking about coatings. Coatings is something that can be done with a machine.
Yeah, sure.
So this is your focus today when looking to develop new products.
Yeah. Like one of them, yes.
Okay.
Together with the CO2 story.
So we talked a little bit about training and the way you go about training people around the world. And that's usually goes to contractors through distributors like AZ. I know we're dealing a lot with technical people, train them on premises. Sometimes we take some delegations, bring them to Buttrop, to your company. But some of the products are being distributed by stores, professional stores. And there, people are contractors, people who fix homes. They will go pick up a product from the shelf with no training. How do you deal with that? Wolfgang.
Oh, Wolfgang.
Well, one of...
we'll let you speak a little bit.
Thank you. No, basically it's the same concept. Yeah, what we would do in your premises or in ours in Germany, we would do the same in that stores. That means either if it's over here in Israel, for example, then we would use the shop floors and present our products, make the people use it, apply it on smaller scales, of course, and make them familiar through these practical trainings. That's important.
Yeah, I mean, we just have to involve the wholesalers in this whole training process.
So definitely something that we have to think about is the workforce of the future. And just before we wrap up, I would like to say thank you to Wolfgang and thank you, Dr. Zur Muhlen, for joining me today. Definitely AZ and MC-Bauchemie, a long-time partner, will continue to partner together in the future.
Very definitely.
We have a very clear vision of having thrilled and skilled people working with products that are durable, they're sustainable, and together we will continue to build and construct. So thank you very much.
And grow.
And grow. And sell.
Exactly.
Okay.
No, but it's a pleasure, and I think, Udi, we can still do and develop a lot of fields together, especially when it comes to widening the portfolio and identify technical areas that are of interest to the Israeli market. I think there's sort of quite some miles we can take together.
Definitely. And being a startup nation, I think there'll be a lot of interest in new technologies, especially the ones that dealing with less handwork and more of brain work when it comes to robotics and mechanical application of products which will set us way into the future. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
מהנדסים בנייה, הפודקאסט הנכנס לעובי הקורה של ענף הבנייה, בהגשת אהוד לביא.